Maryland traveler has health officials scrambling right now, testing positive for measles shortly after returning back home. The state now worried that that resident spread the measles to others at Dulles Airport in Virginia and at Johns Hopkins Pediatric Emergency Department. This all comes as infections nationwide continue to soar, with more than a dozen states reporting cases just in the last few weeks. NewsNation's Xavier Walton has more for us this morning. Xavier, how worried are officials that this outbreak could get even worse than it is right now?
Hey, Markie, good Monday morning to you. Well, there's certainly a heightened level of concern, and health officials are still looking for anyone that came in contact with that person at the Dulles Airport. However, officials do say that person, this is not connected to that Texas and New Mexico outbreak. Still, you got to think measles, one of the most contagious viruses in the world, and still continues to spread nationwide. As we look at this map, big picture, you got to factor in spring break too. Travel season, concern levels multiplied even more. So far, there have been more than 220 cases of measles confirmed in more than a dozen states. Most recently, on top of Maryland, Florida health officials said a high school student tested positive for the virus. However, a majority of the cases involved children who didn't receive that MMR vaccine. Of all the states, though, Texas and New Mexico still reported the most cases, by far nearly 200 with the Lone Star State there. At least 2 deaths being reported, too. That's according to the CDC. An unvaccinated school-aged child in Texas and an unvaccinated adult in New Mexico marked the first measles deaths in the U.S. since 2015. And to make matters even worse, doctors say, yeah, you mentioned this at the top, more cases expected as this outbreak continues. It's gotten to the point where some states, are sending out measles alerts. Federal disease detectives from the CDC have been deployed to hard-hit areas in West Texas where the bulk of the cases are being reported. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., weighing in on the measles outbreak, calling the vaccine a good one, but that the decision to get it is a personal choice. And then there was a recent op-ed. RFK Jr. also said good nutrition and vitamin-rich foods are a best defense against chronic and infectious disease. And he noted vitamin A can be used to treat measles. However, health officials are worried about the federal government's messaging when it comes to vitamin A. And too much vitamin A, it can actually be toxic. They say it cannot actually prevent the measles. It can help reduce symptoms. It needs to be given only under a doctor's supervision. Their message, here it is.
The CDC and from the World Health Organization is hospitals administering a high dose of vitamin A. With this recommendation, I don't want to see people running out to the drugstore and getting extra doses of vitamin A to be given. It's not a preventative treatment.
So in moderation, obviously, Markie, as far as how long the outbreak could last, some health officials are saying another couple of months, but it's really a wait and see, and then you got to heighten your level of security. Keep in mind, I was talking about spring break travel. We're also going to get into summer travel eventually, too, Markie.
Yeah, and these unknowns are scary for a lot of people, a lot of families across the country. Xavier, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.